Hi, today folks we're going to visit the beautiful neoclassical city of Palmyra in Syria. As most of us will already be aware, ISIS yesterday started laying charges to demolish this most beautiful and intact cities of the ancient world. Shocking reports today are coming through of the great city being destroyed by charges laid by ISIS, Islamic State. The great tragedy is to be found on many levels. I, as somebody who's been involved in archaeology for many years, have switched off from feeling or talking about the destruction of these cities under the hands of Islamic State, Nimrud, Nineveh, and also various other archaeological remains that archaeologists and historians and members of the public alike will never ever get to understand their grandeur because they've now been wiped off the face of the earth. I mentioned to one of my students on Friday about Palmyra, and he said, "I don't want to talk about it. It's just too much to bear." And it's too much to bear the thought of something that stood for 2,000 years is in an instant being destroyed as you watch these images. The great city itself is to be seen on the backdrop of the designation as a national monument protected by the National Antiquities Law. It's a site that is seen by the World Heritage Committee as more than unique. It's monumental. It's to be seen by UNESCO as a site of outstanding universal value. Palmyra itself is an oasis in the Syrian desert, northeast of Damascus. Palmyra contains the monumental ruins of a great city that was one of the most important cultural centres of the ancient world. This video itself is a tribute to that. It's a tribute to the memory of something that was once there and now is gone. This video is a tribute to the sense of humanity that has been lost. The sense that everything has a beginning and an end, but also the disaster and the real consciousness of a site that didn't need to be destroyed so soon. For the immediate years after the birth of Christ, this site is to be seen as a juncture of neoclassical styles, the art and architecture of Palmyra standing at the great crossroads of history, archaeology, the heritage of this planet, the crossroads of several great civilizations, the Persians to the east, the Greeks and the Romans to the west. This site is to be seen as a marriage of Greco-Roman traditions and building techniques with local Persian influences and traditions to boot. It cannot be stressed to understand the reasons why the Caliphate of the Islamic State is destroying their own heritage. Islamic State wishes to create its own world, wishes to create a new start, but a new start on the backdrop of ignoring its own heritage, a backdrop of ignoring the past. By destroying the past, you're doomed to repeat past mistakes. It's a warning to Islamic State that if you destroy Palmyra any further and any more sites, what will you have to be seen by the international community as humanity? I'm no politician, but I know that what Islamic State is doing is wrong. Palmyra itself is to be first seen at 2,200 years ago, first mentioned in early records, before the coming of the Romans. Palmyra was an established caravan oasis well before this, and then it was turned by the powers, and then by the Romans in the years after the birth of Christ, as part of the Roman province of Syria, where trade from as far away as China could intermingle with the greatness of Rome. Palmyra itself grew steadily in importance as a city on the trade routes linking Persia, India, China, the Roman Empire, further afield north and south, marking the crossroads of several civilizations in the ancient world. A grand, colonnaded street, as we will see in this image, 1,100 meters in length, forms the monumental axis of the city, entered through gates either end, which together with secondary colonnaded streets running off, links the major public monuments including the Temple of Baal, Great Emperor Diocletian's camp, the Aga marketplace, the Great Theatre, the images that we are seeing now, other temples and urban quarters. The image that we see of the theatre now shows a soldier that I've shown before. This is a representative of the Syrian government who is trying to protect the site. Architectural ornamentation, including unique examples of funeral sculpture, unites the forms of Greco-Roman art with indigenous elements of Persian influences in a strong, original, unique Palmyran style. Outside the city walls are the remains of a Roman aqueduct, immense necropolis of the dead, and other buildings and structures of the everyday peoples. The discovery of the ruined city by travellers in the 1600s-1700s resulted in its subsequent influence on architectural styles in the West. Closing just lightly on this is that the destruction of this site is to be seen as a disaster to the international community. It is our history, our past. It belongs to the Syrians, but it also belongs to the world. The city itself being part of a wonderful crossroads and its loss. I hope that you have visited the tributes that I've paid to this once great archaeological monument that will, within the next few weeks, no longer exist. This is Karl-James Langford reporting.